Alright, we are in Washington D.C. or in Potomac, Maryland, just outside of D.C. We're headed toward D.C. to check out another museum tonight. And this is the first time since we've been here this week that I've actually turned on the big cameras. We've made a couple short recordings, but I just wanted to show, since we're normally in a smaller town or around a smaller town, besides a few times we've done it in Birmingham or Nashville, DC is by far the largest city we've tried FSD in, and so far it's done an amazing job, and cut down a lot of what would be anxiety about trying to figure out all the weird one-way streets and strange traffic rules around here, and just lights being over to the side instead of in the middle. Just lots of differences from where we're from. And so I just want to run these cameras as we head into DC, which it looks like it's going to be longer than normal. I guess traffic's a lot worse tonight. Normally it's about 30 minutes. Right now it's showing close to an hour, so not sure if there's an accident involved or it's just really heavy traffic maybe this time of day, but may fast forward, speed up some of this if it's just due to traffic. But just wanted to really show, in a truly large city with crazy streets and traffic, what it's capable of and how well it really does. Over the course of this whole week, we've been up here a week for a conference, and we've been into town almost every night this week, whether it's into DC or going into Rockville, Maryland. And there have only been a very small handful of times that I've taken over, and all of those really have been just out of an abundance of caution. Some of these lanes are super, super tight, so there was a couple of times I took over just because, literally the mirrors were so close to the ones next to me. It just made me a little bit nervous, letting it go by itself just in case it was too close. But overall, as you'll see in this video, and I'll call it out and I'll show you which I think the way I've got the camera set, you can see the wheel. I'll let you know if I take over for any reason, but anyway, yeah, enjoy.
first scene, we're not losing stuff. Well, we might have lost time from leaving the hotel. But for the past, 15 minutes, it's been...
Yeah, and I'm not sure how many, I guess from the main video screen, you should be able to see all the construction that's also going on top of these roads being absolutely crazy. There's also lots of construction barrels around, and I'm pretty sure the lanes back there are normally one-way traffic, all going east, but they were split and partially going west because of the construction. And so far, as you've seen since we left the conference center, I've been on and off the phone and doing stuff and just kind of supervising it, but I have not had to intervene at all. We haven't really gotten into D.C. or even really close to it yet because of all the traffic, but have already gone through multiple different interchanges on these Maryland highways. But Lisa and I were talking a couple of days ago, and how almost every evening after the conference we've either gone into Rockville or on into the downtown part of Potomac or into D.C. on at least 3 days before this one. And there's no way, if I was trying to drive myself and navigate the traffic and everything else on top of parking can be a little bit stressful because it's mostly street parking in DC, at least. Rockville, we had a parking garage that we found, but I think we probably would have stayed back at the hotel some of those times at least, because just to avoid the stress of trying to navigate these streets and these different traffic conditions than we're used to. But with FSD, it's handled it, taken 99% of the stress out of it, and all I've really had to do was deal with the end of drive parking situation.
This traffic is really crazy. Elijah, how many miles did you say we had to go?
13 miles.
13 miles an hour. Everyone has said DC traffic is so unpredictable and crazy. This is our first real experience with it.
Yeah. But even this, I've mentioned it before on other videos, I'm sure, but being in stop and go traffic, FSD makes it so nice that I'm not sitting here having to, brake, gas, brake, gas, brake, gas, brake, gas, and, have to constantly worry about focusing on when the car is moving and not get honked at if the line moves and I'm not paying attention or whatever.
Talk about the efficiency. What helps your battery in stop go traffic.
Yeah, and I talked about that a little bit on one of my fairly recent videos, but different people could be watching this one, so just tune out this part if you've heard this before. But one of the things that's kind of counterintuitive when you're driving an EV versus a gas car is I guess a lot of people just kind of intuitively think that if you get stuck in bad traffic or some of these bad snowstorms and things where people have been stranded for hours, they kind of immediately think, well, your battery's going to go dead, you're going to get stuck in traffic, not be able to get where you're going fast enough, and your battery's going to run out. But really it's the opposite of that, and the reason is the wind resistance, the drag on the vehicle at higher speeds is a much larger factor with an EV's efficiency. And so when you get up above 75, 80 miles an hour or higher, it really takes a much, much bigger toll. So if you're on interstates, your normal efficiency is not as good as on a smaller road where you're going slower and you're having less wind resistance. So if you get you get stuck in bumper to bumper traffic, that wind resistance factor is totally removed. So you're just creeping along, which uses very, very little energy. And so you can actually go a lot farther. It's not just that it it's slower and you're taking longer to get there. It's actually saving a good bit of energy. And I don't know if you can tell from the center screen view, because it is kind of a wide view and so the screen's kind of small, but there's a little bar right here on the left side of the screen, and whenever energy is being expended, there's a white line that goes up from the center, and whenever energy is being put back on the battery from regen braking, it goes green. And you can see that since I'm kind of going downhill and sort of just rolling, as it needs to slow, it uses the regen braking, and that you can see that little bitty teeny tiny green line show up, and that's just a tiny amount of regen that's popping in. But we're going downhill, so you're really not even going to see the energy being expended. You're only seeing the green bar that's going down is actually helping us right now. It's actually adding power back to the battery, so our range is actually going up right now, which is kind of funny. Once the green bar, if it's having to brake kind of hard, like if we were going faster and a car slowed down in front of us, the green regen bar would go all the way down to the bottom, and that would be your maximum amount of regen. And it's fairly strong, to the point where you normally don't have to touch the brake pedal at all. Even if you're manually driving, you just let off the accelerator and it slows. So with FSD, it automatically uses regen as well. So you can see now that we've come to the bottom of that hill and we're starting to go back up. Instead of it being a green bar, well, now it's green again because it's braking, or it's regen braking, slowing down. As soon as we go again, you see the white bar shows up, and as it accelerates and uses more energy, that white bar comes up toward the top, all the way up until it gets to where it's at your maximum acceleration. But regardless, you can see right now, as we're creeping along at 20 miles an hour, it's using very, very, very little. Even accelerating up this hill, you can see it's not even 10% of the energy that's being consumed. And once it gets up to speed and it's just kind of cruising without that wind resistance factor, it's a very, very tiny amount of energy being used. You can see right now we're going 35 on relatively flat surface, now kind of going back downhill, but it's just a very, very small amount of energy consumed. And you can see in this particular situation, we're between guardrails and or concrete jersey barriers and these big, plastic construction barrel things. It's pretty tight. There's not a lot of room to the left or the right. And I've heard some other people say that have, a lot of modern vehicles, gas or otherwise, have lane centering capability. But from what I've heard from other people that have that function on their vehicle, they don't really use it much because it tends to kind of hunt. It kind of will go to the left and get to the edge and go to the right and get to the edge, and it just sort of does its job. But it's kind of nerve-wracking because you don't know, is it going to drift into the side? Is it not? It's kind of just sort of hunting in the lane. And FSD, as you can see, is just very, it's locked in. Sometimes if you're in traffic, sometimes it'll prefer more close to the edge because of other vehicles, but it doesn't hunt. It knows where it wants to be and it goes there. And you can see that, as tight as this lane is, the Cybertruck with its mirrors out is about the width of an F-150. It's pretty standard truck width. So for these roads, it's not a lot of extra space on the sides, but it does a great job staying within its lane. And I think this is a different route than it's had us take into the city. I don't remember all of this construction zone stuff before.
Must have been trying to avoid the interstate.
Maybe. So in that discussion we were having with the parking garage people, it's kind of neat because Cybertruck has an adaptive air suspension It can be anywhere from 5'9", which is shorter than I am, and I'm 5'10". I'm not super tall, but at the lowest setting, well, it's not even the lowest. When you park, it actually goes down even further for entry and exit. But at the low setting, which is where it's set just for max efficiency on the highway, and you can adjust that too for your preferences, but you can actually see right here on screen, you can flip through your general menu that's got your odometer and everything over to this side. It has all your tire pressures, what your recommended pressure is, your ground clearance, and your total height of your vehicle. And it shows that real-time live information. So if I were to go into the dynamics menu and raise it up to medium or high, those numbers change real time. So that's convenient for somewhere like this that I'm not familiar with. I've never been in this parking garage before. We just know that it's, what do they say, 6'7", which is pretty low. I mean, 6'7", you've got basketball players that would hit their head in this parking garage. So for a lot of vehicles, for example, that white conversion van that just pulled through the median, that van would for sure not fit in there. And my vehicle, when it's on the full highest setting, would not fit in there. But because it's got the adjustable setting, I can leave it low, and I know right in front of me what the actual height is. So I'm not concerned about rolling in really slow and making sure I'm not going to hit the roof. I know from the information on the website and from the lady I just talked to what the height is, and so I can be confident that I can go in and not hit the top of my truck on the parking garage. The one variable at this point is, will it actually fit in the spaces, or are they truly compact spaces like it makes it sound like on the website?
If we can find an accessible spot, roll it.
Yeah, that's true. If it has wheelchair spots, which for anybody that doesn't know, my wife is in a wheelchair, so we wouldn't just be using it, but we have a wheelchair tag. So usually, because of the necessity of trying to get in and out with a wheelchair and the extra space you need on that side of the truck, I would hope that they would have some spots that have a little bit of extra room on one side or the other that we could use for that reason.
I know that some personas call this, but it's been getting me very anxious. It's I do between
The wall over there?
yeah, and the wall over there, like it stays so tight to me.
Mm-hmm. And it is pretty tight, but that's the really good thing about Tesla's approach to full self-driving with the generalized vision and AI approach is that it's just looking at what it has and it's adapting to that. It's not relying on just a pre-programmed map data that it might have that says, hey, you got a 10-foot lane here or whatever, when really you got a Jersey barrier a couple feet into the lane that the map may not be recording. That doesn't matter, because it's generally just looking with the cameras and saying, hey, look, I got a row of barrels, or I have concrete barriers over here, or a guardrail poking out really far, and it's keeping itself in the center of the lane.
There's the Elijah, the Potomac.
Some boats out there. It's down to 18 minutes. I don't know if that dropped off sometime. I thought
Yeah, we were at 340. Now at 333. It's taking that off.
End road work.
Oh, yay.
And also, I don't, it's hard maybe to see on camera, except for you can see the speed limit. So as soon as road work ended and the lanes opened up, it automatically it adjusts your speed based on road conditions, weather conditions, traffic conditions, visibility due to things like fog or rain. So it takes those things into account and either speeds up, slows down, adds more distance between you and the next car.
That's cool. Look at that thing.
Yeah, I wonder if that's the National Cathedral over there. Wow. You are still north of town.
Maybe.
So we're we're only 2.5 miles from, well, it's from our next turn. We're almost 5 miles from our destination. So here's where it should get a little more interesting with the traffic and actually getting into the city. So we'll cross the bridge up here, and there's the bridge right there. And it looks like traffic builds up again right as we're getting onto the bridge. But it should provide a little bit more interesting content for the drive. And it saw me messing with the screen for a long time, so it want me to touch the wheel to acknowledge that I'm still paying attention.
Thank you, Cybertruck.
Alright, so we got a road merging in from the right, and there's cars ahead and behind. And it's pretty impressive to watch how it kind of acts like a human. Just like if we were that white car, the lane's ending, that car's got to go somewhere. So either the white car would have had to speed up or slow down and let them in. They slowed and let them in, and the FSD will do the same thing. I see it a lot of times where you'll be running next to an on-ramp, and if it's got room, sometimes it'll speed up if it's not already going at the upper end of where it thinks it should be. If it doesn't, and you're parallel to a vehicle, it'll slow down and let them in. We say all the time it acts very human-like in a lot of those situations where it's a very smooth thing. It doesn't do a lot of kind of robotic. It doesn't get stuck trying to analyze the situation. It makes a decision really quickly and goes with it. And since it's looking frontwards, backwards, at an angle to the front and at an angle to the back on the sides, it's got a lot more information available to it at the same time and can make those decisions arguably better than a human can most of the time. See the Washington Monument over there, Jefferson Memorial. There's some type of monument of some sort over there. I don't know what that one is.
Here's the bridge.
Yeah, once we cross underneath this other highway, or a couple of highways, we're gonna make the loop on the right onto the bridge to go across into D.C. Excuse me.
Now take the exit on the right toward Washington.
Alright, so here's this exit. It is going to make this loop all on its own, which we got stopped traffic right here, so it's going to pull up onto the ramp and just follow this up, and it may be stop and go across the bridge. We'll have to see it. On the map it shows that it's red, which means it's pretty much standstill.
It is absolutely amazing how many Teslas are in this area.
Yeah, the only other place that might somewhat rival it is South Florida, like down near Boca Raton. There's a lot down there, but there may even be more here. I mean, when you look around, just every intersection, there's multiple ones, which coming from where we live, we just don't see. I mean, there's a handful, but we just don't see a lot. So blinker just came on, so it's signaling that it wants to get over to the left, and now it's just waiting for that opportunity. And even with FSD on, it still gives you your left blind spot camera when that left blinker comes on. And it's going to decide based on how close its turn is, and if someone slows down to let you in, or if it's urgent, if it knows, hey, I got to get over now or I'm going to miss my turn, it'll get pretty assertive and just, it'll wait till the spot is just big enough for it and it'll insert itself. And you can see right here, these two lanes are about to merge together. This car stayed up front and waited, so FSD, ultimately saw that, hey, this car's not going to back off. It's going to wedge itself in, so it backed off and let it in. I've seen sometimes too where I swear it sees blinkers, because otherwise, like, there'll be a car, in a normal traffic situation that'll turn its blinker on, and it's not like the lane's ending, they just need to get over, and the truck will back off sometimes to let them in. It's pretty cool. Elijah, look, this plane's coming across right in front of us over this bridge.
Elijah.
Oh yeah, that's really low.
There's the Marta. The
You're from the metro, just stop on a
the
bridge.
Marta's landing. No?
I think stopped right there on the bridge and then started
That's
going again.
weird. With a Bernie sticker in front of us. Oh, yeah. Oh. So right here we've got a stalled vehicle, station wagon, just hanging out here with his flashers on in the middle of the lane. You can see FSD just naturally just said, oh, there's a car there that's not going anywhere. It saw, instead of stopping behind it and, getting confused, or, if I'm driving and all of a sudden the car in front of me gets over, well, now there's a stalled car, I'm probably going to be stuck there for a second because I don't immediately see all the cars behind me. I wasn't watching, constantly in my rearview mirror, so I probably would have stopped and then had to see, okay, when can I get over? Who's going to let me over? Because FSD is constantly looking in all directions. As soon as it saw a car that is clearly to it stalled, it picked up on that because it stopped in the road, other traffic's moving, its flashers are on. It's looking at all those things, and in a split second says that car's not going anywhere. I'm going to go around it, and it did, and it was super smooth and caused no issues. So now we're across the bridge, still headed into the city. We've got a little bit of a sprinkle going on, a little rain shower. It's really not inhibiting the view at all, so I don't think you're really going to see anything different. I'm not even sure if you can see that on the screen. Wipers are automatic also. Sometimes they have a little bit of a false indication in white when it's dry, but it does actually work when it rains too. And that there's actually not even a rain sensor. They've pulled those out, and it just uses the cameras and the AI interface to detect the rain with the cameras and say, okay, I need intermittent wiper use, or it'll speed up if it gets heavier. Based on how that camera up here, there's actually 3 cameras in this sensor suite up on the windshield that has it's like a long range, narrow angle, wide angle.
Exit 3 on the right toward 12th Street Expressway.
So we've got 1/10 of a mile before our exit. And see, here's another case right here where there's a lane over here, but there's like a double white, kind of a divider. If I was driving, I don't know whether I'm supposed to be there to make sure I don't miss this 1/10 of a mile exit, or if that's about to end, which it appears based on what they're doing that that's about to end, and then exit 3 opens up. So that's just another one of those things that I would be kind of second guessing. Do I need to be in that lane? Are we about to exit here, or is it a little bit further down? And in this case, it It just knows what it's supposed to do. Now here's another. Okay, here's another stalled car. So this is really good. I'm glad all this is in there. So we've got another stalled car with its hood up. FSD is gonna put on its blinker, wedge itself in, and the exit's right here, so it's got to get right back over, which it does perfectly. I mean, probably better than I would have. Again, right back where it needs to be in this exit lane, which is just insane to me.
That is a spy museum. Or that red thing.
The one that says spy?
Yeah, that'd be the one.
Cool. It's kind of neat looking.
Mm-hmm.
Now keep right toward Wildfire.
Alright, so we've only got 4 minutes to our destination, so I'm probably going to wrap up here in just a second, because what's going to happen when we get up here to, once we get onto Virginia Avenue and we get near this garage, I'll need to take over to get into the garage and figure out what we need to do about getting a ticket from the machine and, you know, where to actually park and so forth. Let's see.
Stop big crosswalk. It's not like red light.
I know. Although there's a red light out there.
Is it stopping for that?
I don't know. I don't think so. So in this case, I'm going to inch it forward. I think the light is up here. So that's one. I didn't have to take over the FSD. It's still engaged. I just gave it a tiny tap on the accelerator, because I think what it was seeing back there were some signs that had a DC law requires stop for pedestrians, and so there's a stop sign on that sign at the crosswalk. It looked like it was looking at that, and there was also a red light beyond the overpass that you could probably see. I don't know which one of those it was looking at. I think probably the light, because the stop sign, it would have normally stopped and then continued on. And there was nobody behind me there, so I probably could have waited and just to see when that light changed, if that's when it decided to go. But anyway, see, we got bicyclists crossing over, not in the crosswalk. We've got pedestrians that are walking around at these various spots. Still raining, and you can see on the screen that there's just, you know, there's people everywhere, and it recognizes where every person that's walking around on the sidewalks is.
I wish we'd gotten footage of down Constitution Boulevard where cars still randomly parked.
Mm-hmm.
That was crazy.
Yeah. Well, we've got to see that a couple times with two different stalled cars in our lane, like while traffic's going on that bridge, like where places that you can't park.
I got a little scared. I didn't scream because I knew filming, but I got a little scared. I screamed inside my head.
All right, and in this case, because of a car parked, it's really in the lane that I was in, but it just naturally gets on over to the left. It realizes all these cars are not just stopped here for traffic, they're parked there. Got a bus here, but its stop sign is not out, so it's just kind of hanging out there, so it went on around. We got about 3 more turns here. We got to make the block to come back around, because Virginia is a one-way street coming in from the east. So we're going to make this right.
Go to the lady, please.
Yeah, so it sees a pedestrian coming. You can see her on the screen, as well as that bike that just crossed over. Let her get on past. It's going to ease out and look, because it can't really see under the bridge till it gets to here, and then it's going to continue on. I still don't know how it determines bus only lanes or not. It seemed to do okay.
Turn left onto East Street Southwest.
You can see our jogger coming across. We got our bicyclist right there on the corner. I don't know if you can see him on camera, but there's a bicyclist on the corner. You got 2 pedestrians on the far intersection corner. They're both shown. Got your bicyclists walking and going across here, which it shows them. Pedestrian walking in front of us again. And we've got a green light, but there's no arrow, so it's just sitting here waiting for the straight traffic to cross before it blocks the intersection, which is the right thing to do. Got our Lexus that's going to turn there. It's going to make sure nothing's behind him, and it's going to go. Alright, we are now
In
about
500 feet, turn left onto 3rd Street
one
Southwest.
block away. We'll make 2 lefts, and I'll need to take over on Virginia to see exactly where to pull into this parking garage.
NASA? It's NASA's
NASA
headquarters.
employees
there?
only.
Now turn left
Huh.
onto 3rd Street Southwest.
That's interesting. Yeah, look.
Ah,
Got the worm
oh, I
logo.
do.
Yeah, see,
Oh, okay.
I'm right here while you're screaming.
Well, I thought you were on your phone.
So I'd like to, if we have time, maybe before we leave, if once, because we only got like an hour and a half in here or less,
Yeah.
maybe we can come over here and get a picture with the NASA sign.
Yeah.
All right, so we're making this left here. I'm gonna go ahead and take over now because I gotta find this supposed brown sign that's at this parking garage entrance. Is it this
Tell
one?
me.
Is this it?
I don't know. Looks like it. Oh, did you not navigate? I think did it show us the honk?
I don't know. I
It
don't
feel
see-
like this.
Yeah, is this the one?
I think so.
Yeah, 321 Virginia Avenue. We're at 6'6".
There's a car coming.
Yeah, are we supposed to go in? Is this an in and an out?
But barely. I don't know.
We're at 6'6". Credit cards only. Welcome to 409 3rd Street parking. 5 miles an hour. Huh, so it's telling us to go.
That's first seat.
Yeah, it's pretty steep. The good thing is we know. I've also got a front camera where I can see at least what I'm about to run into. There's a car.
Man, this is tight.
We have to leave my glasses off because it'll scare me a lot less. Oh, sticks the wheelchair jack up.
So let's see. So here's our.
Dang, we're so far underground, my ears
So-
are popping.
That's the look camera.
Where's our ticket? Ticket.
It's gonna look the camera.
It's gonna what?
Well, if I put this up,
Well, don't put it up yet. Let's see. There's level P1. It says blue spot parking. There's that over here. You think we should go this way?
level P1,
Well, P1 is all of it. This is all level
Oh.
P1.
and I know the elevator is right there.
Yeah, it talked about. Oh, there's a handicap spot right there,
Really? Where?
right here.
Oh,
But is that like a parallel spot? Or
are you blind?
I don't know.
I think you blind.
I think that's a
Thank you.
parallel spot.
No.
What?
Really?
Yeah, you can't pull in straight right there.
Okay.
Right? I don't think.
Reserved for cops. Yeah.
I mean, we can look at a couple more of these, but I think what I'm going to do is think I'm gonna go back up there and parallel park between those two poles.
I just park here.
What?
You just park here, can you?
Yeah, that nobody's gonna be able to park really close to us because of that thing right there.
There's 2 spots there.
Oh.
So yeah, they will, and they'll park extremely close because of the pole. So, yeah, that spot, isn't that a, yeah, you know what, I think I can just do this. Straighten up,
What's up?
back in here. Wait till that car passes and straighten up even more. I think I can get a little bit closer to this side over here. And I've left the cameras rolling because I can guarantee you just about that almost any other full-size truck would not be able to fit in this spot. Especially not be able to do 3-point turns and go back and forth and maneuver around in this spot. But
They have EV charging right there.
yeah. But I can fit perfectly right here in this hole, and still got room to get the wheelchair out in the back. I've got all these camera views that I can pull up at any point and see how close I am to poles and everything else. Also my ride height, or my overall height, so I could see and compare it before I ever drive in. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. I know that one may be a little bit longer, but I think it showed a lot of good stuff. Kind of excited about editing that one and getting it out there. And we're gonna head to the museum. Talk to you guys later.